I think we can begin. So, today will be our last session for the festive art. And I feel that I haven't given more reasoning for why we do this festive art, apart from the fact that some parts of the art are enjoyable. But today I want to speak a little bit about how much we, in the name of festivals, we land up buying things and gifting things and putting stuff up which just goes into garbage. And it just feels like such a shame that we aren't being a little more conscious about it. I think previous generations had no option. Everyone used to make these things at home and just decorate with whatever they had at home. And then, almost as more and more stuff started becoming available for decorations or for even gifting, it's almost like people went out there with a vengeance that now, this time, I'm going to make a theme around my Ganesha or whatever. And all that is great because that is good for a creative expression. It also helps in just celebrating something with great joy. But I think somewhere now we need to draw a line and figure out how much we should be doing to just add to our celebration or sense of joy without taking responsibility for what those things land up doing for our own environment. So it's like the stuff that people are buying to decorate their Ganeshas is going to go in our landfill. So that is the place that we are all going to live. And I just feel that maybe with the little things that we do, we can make a difference in how maybe this year, when you are celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi or Diwali or any of the festivals, that you start changing a little bit and start making your holidays more sustainable. So, one of the important things that I do is I have been trying to keep myself sustainable for several years now. So, the biggest thing to do is to keep reusing the stuff that you have bought, either it's decorations or it's diyas. And the second thing is whatever you make it out of out of material that again you have around the house or you're going to throw out anyway, and give it a second or a third or even a fourth life before you discard it. So today I'm going to show you some ideas on how to make decorations for Diwali which will not need you to buy anything. You just make the stuff at home, including something like tea lights that can, then you don't have to buy those tea lights, which again, what happens to the metal? Where does the wax come from? Very often, the wax is paraffin wax, which lets out fumes which are not really that healthy for us. If you do work with candles, you should look for something like soy based candles or beeswax, which are not that harmful for us. Okay, so the lamps that we're going to make today are just going to be simple lamps with a design on a sheet of paper. So if you have any recyclable paper like this is from an old bag that I've cut out, something about an A4 size. Something like this is good. And also, if you've got just regular paper or our A4 size drawing paper, that is also fine. And again, if you want to recycle something that's already printed, that is also fine. We are going to do a little bit of cutting. So if you are comfortable using an X-Acto knife, then you can use that and cut up some stuff. If not, then we'll just use plain scissors. This is again something that you can do with kids if you've got kids in the house. Just make a whole bunch of these lamps that you can then put all around the house. They look really pretty. Right, so all we have to do to make interesting looking tea lights is create a design on the paper, but visualizing where we want to cut up the paper in a few places so that some of the light can shine through. That is what makes a tea light or a lamp look beautiful. So if we start off with something like a cityscape, you can use a fat pen like a 0.8, or if you've got a brush pen, you can use a brush pen, or even a marker in this case will help, a permanent marker. So you have something like this, and to make the details, you have something like this. If you have thin pens only, then actually don't bother because you hardly see any of the thin patterns. What you could do, however, is take some of this leftover paper and cut out shapes from this itself, which you can paste on your design afterwards. So we'll do a little bit of that as well to see the whole effect. So the final result is that we are going to be rolling this paper up and pasting it. This is how it's going to be. And on this paper, we are going to either apply something or draw something and cut out some stuff which will give the lamp or a lamp shade some beauty, something interesting. So let's say in this case, we do a bunch of flowers which are opening out into the top. So we can start off with V-shaped, like tulip-shaped flowers.
We can do it with color markers.
Sorry?
We can do it with colored markers, so we use black only.
If you are using colored markers, again, I would ask you to limit the colors. Don't make it too colorful. Because again, the what we are making with the design is only a little bit of embellishment for the paper. It's not, the design does not have to be the hero of this. The lamp will become the hero. So whatever design you make, because we are going to overlap it, you can make it in such a way that instead of a straight cut here, you can have maybe leaves and part of the flower itself, so that we can cut along this edge. That way it won't look like a straight stuck edge at all. So on the left hand side, I'm going to make a flower where the edge is going to be a certain way that I can cut it later on. And also I am going to make the design only about this tall. It's not going to go all the way. So we are going to cut along the edge of the flowers eventually, so that we don't have one whole flat edge. So here, let's say if we make a design like this. Obviously, this is a lot of space, so you can make a bud like this, and you can also make a leaf. And on the right hand side, knowing that there is going to be a little bit of overlap over here, maybe up to about an inch or so, you can keep that space empty. And whatever element you place over here, it should be such that it won't be a problem if that were to be hidden. I'll be right back. So in this case, the design should be reasonably simple. You don't have to make it too complex. You can also make filler flowers like that. You can make some overlapping flowers. So whenever you are making any object, you must see what its role is in the decor. And some things should ideally be a little muted so that the elements which are supposed to be very prominent, they get their importance. Like for example, if you've got something, if you've got a beautiful tile floor, on top of that, if you put a very ornate lamp, neither the lamp nor the flooring will get its due. It's like two heroes fighting for attention. So you need to be clever about what area you choose to display these, and then also what kind of object you want to put in which area. So once you've made this design, you can think of all sorts of ways in which you can cut some holes in this. So I'm thinking here's one idea. If you've got long uh, petals, we could cut long holes like these. But instead of cutting them off completely, you could keep them just open like this so that they provide a dimension. They don't have to be cut out completely. And they can just be an organic shape. So if you're familiar with cutting with a cutter like that, that's great. If not, if you're doing it for the first time, use some nice soft material at the bottom. So you can use a stack of papers, for example, or even a vegetable chopping board is fine. Now we shouldn't cut so many that we hamper the structural integrity of the lamp. Just one or two pieces are fine, and that too not too close to the edge. You don't need to overdo it. And as for the structure of the lamp, you can cut along the edge like this. Now I like it if I can match one edge to the other. So I'll just make a mark on one side.
We don't remove it completely. We just slit it and take
Yeah,
out the. Okay.
correct. Yeah, that's just an option. You don't need to remove it completely. So my flowers are going to come like this, and I'm going to put a mark here. This is where the leaf is going to come. So this is how it's going to get cut on the inside. And you can cut this part later also. So I'm going to cut this. In this form. Leaving a considerable gap between the drawing and the edge. And now when I cover this up, I can cut along the right side, the left side edge as well, so that we don't get a straight line.
What was the marking you had done on the side? What was that for?
This was to show myself how low the left side is going to come and overlap. So because we are cutting this in a shape, we're cutting the left side edge in a shape. When it comes onto the right side, I wanted to give myself a place where I can then cut the right edge also such that I don't get this weird shape. But it's not the most important thing here. See, this will look a little odd. But if I can cut this seamlessly, which will be the pencil line that I have drawn before, then it just looks a little more finished. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm cutting that in this manner. So these are the little things I feel we have not been trained to see. How does it matter that you get a seamless looking edge? See, when it fits, it just it just looks so much more cleaner. The edge tends to look a lot more clean and thoughtful. So now if I hold the finished edge corner to corner, I can evaluate whether I have cut it correctly or not. Looks like I haven't, so I can still make some adjustments here.
Does it matter whether you move left to right or right overlaps? Nothing, right?
No, that won't matter. The bottom part, when you are joining, that must match, and also you should check that you're getting your lines parallel, because if you don't have straight edges, sometimes this can happen if it's not parallel. So the bottom edge should sit parallel. Adjust this, and I'll also use a clip to hold it in place. So I can see where to cut in the top. And right now this is looking fine because the line that I have cut looks like that border that we are keeping away from the edge. So I don't need to cut any further. Do you see this? It's creating that same illusion. So before we stick it, we need to just see if whatever cuts we have made are enough. If not, then this is the time that we can make some more slits. So you can use something like a pencil to roll the paper outward and give this three-dimensional effect. And if you want, you can also cut some actual holes inside this. I have seen lamps like that where they have used a punch, a single hole punch to punch holes all over. You can do that, or you can use just your cutter and maybe make some. This time we're going to make holes, so I am cutting out some diamond shaped pieces out. This is to add some texture, and this texture will come through the light that shines through.
Because I just want to chatter, Aditi. Yesterday, I went and helped this 79-year-old auntie set up her entire um, uh, Ganpati backdrop. And she had made this beautiful kasuti embroidery, gujari. It was like a tablecloth, like a 3 by 3 foot tablecloth. And we used that as the backdrop. Imagine how much time and effort she'd put in. It was so neatly done.
Wow.
And it looked so gorgeous. And then we used some, those cane chatais.
Uh-huh.
We used that, which I had kept with me. I don't know, it's been with me for how many years. So we just keep changing paper decor on
Right.
top of that chatai, or we'll add some ribbon sometime on the sides, and we you can reuse the ribbon also.
Correct.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
but
You
that kasuti thing, that embroidery piece was just so stunning. It didn't need anything else.
should you should share this picture
Yeah.
because I'm sure there'll be a lot of people interested. And there was also chatter to do embroidery in class. That was a new requirement. Was it this class or was it art from home? I think some people had asked for.
This is fabric. Fabric was the discussion in September. We were going to.
Yes, fabric we are doing also, but there was some group that saying that they wanted to do embroidery as well. I thought it was from art from home. Maybe it's a Saturday group. But these things on the art from home really help. A lot of people are doing a lot of interesting things and also are constantly looking out for interesting things. Okay, so I'm going to now paste this. So when pasting again, be careful that you adjust the paper. And if you want to put a weight on it, then you can easily just slip something inside this hole and keep it in that. Like even my scissors can sit there and give some pressure while the glue is drying. Now I wanted to show you this lamp idea. It's not very uncommon. It's not very new, I should say, but it may not be very common. I had known of this trick for a while. Have you seen a lamp like this? So you have a wick which is attached to a piece of foil. I have tested this out yesterday, and today the wick is now soaked with water. I've made a mix of, I've taken a whole lot of water in this jar. I'll show you from the other side camera. So this is mostly water and this is some used oil. And then I've made a little plate out of foil which opens up like that. And I have pinched a cotton wick through this. So technically, this is all the oil that the wick will need. Just to be safe, I'm going to hold it like this. And I tested this out yesterday and it's lasted for about 3-4 hours. This is just a regular jar, and yeah, the wick has a lot of water in it now. But that's all you do, and this thing floats like this.
How interesting.
Let me show. Oh, it's gone. So you don't need even those diyas. You can just use something like this. And of course, the diyas also, if you can use old oil, that is also good. And other than the wick, nothing needs replacing. So I think I bought diyas maybe in 97 or 98, and I've been using the same diyas since then, and those are also earthen diyas, and they are not painted over with acrylic or anything. They are just earthenware. I have come across also diyas that are made out of atta. There is some festival that Maharashtrians celebrate, during which we make a whole lot of stuff out of atta. And there's some puja that young girls have to perform. So they make all these little decorations, and that diya also can be lit. And then in that case, everything is totally sustainable, very biodegradable. You don't need to go and buy anything. My grandmom, in fact, had also taught us how to make the wick with just cotton. It's very easy. It's just cotton fiber, which you have to twist using a little bit of Rangoli powder, which helps to keep your hand dry and twists and maintains the wick in place. So if you think back, these are things literally you can do while you're watching TV or something. You don't even have to take time out separately to do this.
Right.
And if you make an audit of the things that you would have bought for your family or friends, how much of that is appreciated and people are going to use, and how many things people are just going to junk because everybody wants to offload all of their stuff. So what remains is actually just a sentiment. You just want to convey a sentiment that you're thinking about them when you bring them gifts. But we have taken that to an absurd level, I feel. Even if a gift is not required, it almost seems like it's insulting for people to not carry a gift. And then they get it, and I have known, and I have done that myself. I have also recycled gifts because I couldn't use something, but I have told the person that this is something that I got. I don't need it. So you tell me if you need it, then I can give that to you. So if you do an audit of the things that you were going to buy, and then if you can make something for them from home, and if you total up the amount of money that you would have spent, and if you can even you will realize that you can probably plant more trees with that money than effectively destroying part of the environment from the money that we spend, because that's an exchange that we've invented for ourselves. There might be a more constructive way of celebrating our holidays. In fact, it can become a way in which now, instead of extracting, we can start giving back. And the holidays become the occasions, and then through the year, whatever you have been consuming, this becomes a place where you can offset that carbon footprint. All right, now, while this is drying, and since we have a lot of time, this wasn't like the most complicated thing we have done. I want to also show you this a Rangoli design that I believe is practiced a lot in Maharashtra, but I'm not sure if it's practiced elsewhere also. Do you know how to make these patterns using dots?
I've seen videos, the kolam thing, right? But I've never tried it myself.
It's not kolam. It's
Because,
not a kolam.
okay,
It's a geometric design which also uses dots.
okay.
Let me show you, and then you can tell me if you have done it before. It's good fun. So, in order to make this design on the floor, I have learned this trick from a neighbor who, when I was maybe about 5 or 6 years old, so I would go and help her make rangoli in whatever manner I could. So she had taught me that in order to get your dots in the right place, you take a huge tracing sheet and you make a grid on the tracing sheet, and then you make holes in that by using an agarbatti. So you just get one tiny hole in the place that you want the dot to be. Then
Right,
when
it
you're
could be a big
making
one.
making the design, you just put down that the dot, I guess the whole paper, and count the number of dots that you need, and those are the places where you will put the dots. And then you can start making the design. So we will make some of those designs, and if we have time, we can paint them as well. So the first design that we'll make, it's a very basic design. We are going to make on a grid of 5 dots by 5 dots. So I will have you draw 5 dots by 5 dots in a space this small, because I'm going to show you how to expand that design into a larger space as well. So you can start off by making these dots just by hand. This is great practice for the eye to assess space. Some places the dots may not come exactly below or next to the expected dot, but you can always make an adjustment. So this is the first 5 by 5 design. Now in this grid, you come to the center of the grid. This is simple enough. The third dot from the top, left, right, and bottom, that will be the center because it's just got 5 dots. From the center dot, you will draw a line going up and down, effectively from dot 2, 3, and 4 on the central line. Then horizontally, so you make a cross and then you make an X as well. So you have made lines running across all the central dots. You have a ring of dots all around. Okay. Now on the corners, you will make 2 lines like this, like an L shape. And then on each side, you will join 2 sides in a V shape like this. Okay, are you with me?
Yeah.
Then I will just complete this design. So this is one very nice, very basic design. And you can keep growing this design. Of course, you can keep adding 5 dots, 5 dots, 5 dots, but you can also overlap some stuff. So if we only consider the last 2 dots in a line and in the row, so along this side, and we add to these, so let's say these are the first 2 rows and columns. So this is the first row of dots. We are going to add 3 more dots to complete this grid, and then go and add more lines or rows to this, so that we get 5 columns by 5 rows. And now we can repeat the same thing here. So if you wanted to make a whole row of these, you can just keep drawing them like this, or you can also then make a zigzag pattern, or you can make a square out of this. It's like endless possibilities. So suppose you want to make the zigzag pattern. We do the exact same thing on the right hand side. We will add 3 more rows and 3 more columns in the same way. So now when you are expanding, just look for alignment. Make sure that these dots are all aligned to the first grid we made. These designs are also fun, almost like our doodle art, where if you use a dot grid paper, you can keep experimenting with all sorts of possibilities. And then, even in that, you can create one motif and find a way to keep expanding that and growing it across the whole page. Okay, so now you get how to increase this. Of course, if you had placed 5 right next to this, then these two edges would have come and joined here, and this would have been like one ring of flowers as well. Okay, now the next one I'm going to show you is a grid of 8 by 8 dots. So just for the sake of our composition, the page must look very beautiful. I'm going to draw the first row aligned to our first Rangoli design. So this is a practice that I keep imposing on all the students because we have not been shown to care for these little things like alignment of objects on a layout, or whether things are matching, or also color appreciation, keeping things straight. It is so, I mean, it's baffling to me that I'm sure you must have experienced this. You go to any place where they have to post announcements, anywhere. If you're living in a building complex, I'm sure there is some announcement in the lift. What does it take to take a piece of tape and place the announcement straight and just put it straight? No, we will keep the announcement this way. One tape will be here, one tape will be here, and one will be long, one will be short. It's like, whoa, which monkey was given this job, and why has nobody objected to that? And also taken some steps, take it out and refix it. So you can see how I spend my free time trying to fix everybody else's attempts at being.
Oh, Aditi, I'm the same person. And doormats. Oh my God.
Yes,
Doormats, table mats,
correct.
so many things.
What does it take, one might ask? But it's just that I think there is a certain blindness to these aesthetics. All right, so now we've got this alignment. At least the tops are aligned, because the dots can be bigger or small. The bottom may not get aligned. That's fine. We're not working on very mechanical precision, but at least there is an attempt for some kind of precision. Okay, now this design is going to be, it's not a symmetrical design. This design is going to show us a movement in one direction. So the starting point over here is again the center, but the center is not the center of this grid because we have 4 and 4, 4 and 4. So we don't have one point as much as one area. So what I want you to do is count up to 4 dots down and 4 dots to the right. So the area between the 4th and 5th dots in a vertical, on the vertical column, 4th and 5th dot, on row number 4 and 5, that is our center. This is going to be our square. And I've marked it deliberately in pencil so that I can also check and you can also check if it's working. I'm going to check at my end. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, correct. So this is where we begin. Of course, now if anything goes off, you can always add more dots to the side. So don't worry about that. Just check that we have a circle right in the center with 3 lines of dots above it, 3 lines below, 3 lines to the left and 3 lines to the right. Like in this case, we had made those crosses because we had a dot in the center. Here, there isn't a dot, there is this section between dots that is in the center. All right, now to start off, we are going to draw a line that goes like this. This is from dot number 4. I'm drawing a horizontal line on the top of this square which goes from dot number 4 through 5 to 6. And like we had made that gift box, the same thing repeats everywhere. So you can turn your paper around to avoid confusion and make the same line from 4 to 5 to 6. And make the same thing on all sides. 4, 5, 6 and 4, 5, 6. So we have created the first motif which already starts giving you a sense of movement. Now from this intersection, each of these intersections, we have to draw a line on the diagonal. So we will draw a line from this almost like an armpit going outward and from the end of the line like this and complete that parallelogram there. Then we turn the book around again from the junction and the tip in the same angle. So this is going on the diagonal to the next row. Now this itself is such a pretty looking flower. Okay. Now from each side, next to this side, we will draw another parallelogram, but this covers a larger space. So we have a small parallelogram next to a large parallelogram. And keep turning the book. Because this design is not symmetrical, it can get and also it shows a little offsetting of the lines. It can be very confusing. So we've got a pattern like this where things have just been shifted a little bit so that we have made this gap in the center. Again, this itself can be a design. Now the last one to finish this, we can make a square on the outside. And this part, I think you will be able to make it even without rotating the design. Now, when I see rangolis like these and they are filled up, again, every color under the sun has to be filled up in a rangoli. I get it, we are a very colorful country and we have to celebrate color and all of that, but there can be beautiful looking rangolis which can have a little bit of discretion where color is concerned. So, of course, if you're doing this for someone else, do it what they ask you to do. But if you're doing it for yourself, try and switch it up a little bit. So try and see if you can merge two colors, make some pastel shades, make just a whole range of pastel shades and color this. So instead of using a primary red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue everywhere, how about just in shades of red or just in shades of blue or opposite colors in opposite wings? If you have anything ready and you are going to use it the way it is, that is like, I guess, maybe if you enjoy cooking, this would be like making Maggi noodles. Doesn't really make you a cook. So, if you want to be a little artistic, try to add a little more masala to it. So, it can be the same Maggi noodles, but you add some vegetables, do something else to it. So when you have the opportunity to make this, try and make this with something different. Now, one trick to also do this rangoli a little better, if you don't want to go through all of that paper and everything, is just take a piece of chalk. You can make the grid on paper and then through the holes use chalk to mark your dots. So you still use that whole grid. And then make the base lines with chalk itself, and then you can draw on top of that. I've seen this done, and this is a quick method to get you make rangolis. And then also it saves so much time that you could possibly make a new rangoli every day. So have you all seen these patterns before? Did you know of how to make these?
You think you know because you've seen a video, but you don't know until you've done it.
Okay, so
And maybe
you've done
no,
made these. Okay.
no, like even the Celtic knots that we did,
Uh-huh.
you would think, oh, I've got this. Even after your class, I was like, oh, I've got this. Now I can replicate it. But you can't.
Yeah.
The next day you go and try to show it to your kid, and you're completely lost.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
same thing. That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, it takes practice. Maybe I'd seen it somewhere, printed somewhere. I probably haven't even seen videos. You've seen it printed somewhere or something, but no, I hadn't ever tried it.
So these geometric patterns are made all over Pune, Bombay, Thane, generally a Maharashtra, West Maharashtra design. And I didn't know that till Saturday. And so I made this literally as an extension because we were waiting for the glue to dry and I wanted to show the whole demo of the lamp. And when I did this, Garima said, I've never seen rangolis like that. And can you do a separate class on just this? And I thought, what are you saying? Haven't you done this? What kind of rangolis do you guys make? So it turns out that I guess through the length and breadth of the country, there are so many different ways of making rangoli. That itself can be one session. So I need to do some more research. Okay, one more design. I'm going to show you one more design. This is also fun. Okay, this one has 9 dots. So I can now align the same to either the left or the right. And if I want to keep all of this contained, then I can just make lines from below the right side and extend a little to the left. Or I can make some of these dots closer so that this fits exactly within this space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. This much we can control. And even from the bottom, keep more space from the bottom than from the top. At least not less. If you can't keep more, then try to keep equal space. I think these are great exercises to do with kids because they start understanding space better and also division of space, odd number, even numbers, how these values make a difference in position, all of these things. And these are very subtle learnings that they can start applying in many practical ways as they grow older. I remember, I can't tell for sure whether it was because of this or not, but knowing that if you have even numbers, you are not going to get a line in the middle, you're going to get a space in the middle. And if you have odd numbers, you get a line in the middle, has helped me do a lot of lettering. So if I were to write the word Rangoli, that has got 7 letters. I know immediately that I will be able to write it on the dot. So if I were to make a text like this, I write R here, I write I here, and the center letter is going to be on the line. And then I put 2 more lines for 2 more letters. This is something that just comes to your brain without even thinking about it. And then I can easily draw the letters. But even the solution of this writing the letters like this has come somewhere because I could understand how the values of even and odd work. Right, now this design again is center and outward. So we come to the center. Here our grid is 9 by 9, so the central dot will be the 5th dot from the top and from the right, and will also incidentally be from the right and the bottom. And we are going to go ahead and make the same flower right in the center. So start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th dot that's in the center, and make a line on either side from 5th to 4th and 5th to 6th, and then across. Now we are not going to make a square on the edge, so we are just going to go ahead and make that L shape that we had done on the corners and make the flower. So this square shape has come, negative space has come about as a byproduct of the 2 flowers joining, so ignore that. After you've drawn the flower, you will have 2 lines or 2 rows and 2 columns on the periphery, and of course some extra lines around the flower as well, right? Okay, now here again we are going to have to rotate the book a little bit. So the first line to draw is from okay, I'm going to now label these petals. On each of these apexes, you have 2 petal sides. You have the left side and the right side. Okay, just draw this, just write this: left and right, left and right, left and right. It'll just become a little easier for me to explain. Instead of saying from here to here and here to there, I will be using these terms. Okay, now right on top we have the right side of one pair of petals and the left side of another pair of petals, correct? So we are going to make a line from the left side past this dot, past the dot on right to the dot beyond. So this line is across 4 dots, including the dot that it starts from. Turn your book to the side and make the same thing on all sides. Okay, we've got this. Okay. Now the next line is made on the row above, but instead of drawing a line from right above the first point, we are going to draw a line from the dot on its left and again go across 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I was going ahead. So not here, just up to the 4th. Not till here, from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where the first one started, not over there. So the line has shifted a little to, or 1 dot to the left. Okay, are your designs looking a little bit like mine? Okay, now we have to do the same thing but on the angle. So these first sets of lines we drew from the left going towards the right and then beyond. Now we have to start on the diagonal and we draw the line going from the right corner on the diagonal to the left of the same petal pair and then come to join the new line that we have drawn. So we are going to make this across 3 lines on the diagonal, including the starting point. And then like we did the earlier one, you make another line on the diagonal from the dot next to it. So this is what we have. You just offset that by 1 more dot. So this is where we have drawn the line. You draw the next line from the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is this not looking the same? Yeah, it has to be here, correct. Lots of spirals happening here. Now if you notice, all these pairs of lines are actually parts of squares that can connect with each other but by overlapping. So I'll show you how this will work. This line can connect to this square. make one angle. And if you follow this line, now this is exactly like our Celtic squares. Then this line will come here, and this line will come here. So the design has been made in such a way that the squares have interlaced and gone through. The lines are absolutely precise because of the fact that we have made it on a regular grid. And then you join the others. You'll be able to see those squares. That's it. So what you could do is, our lamp is also ready, and you could make these lamps, and even tiny lamps if you want. Make the Rangoli pattern underneath, especially something like this, where then you can fit the lamp right on top of the Rangoli. I think it looks really pretty. So I just want to show you some of the other designs that we made in the Saturday batch. We made this design in a white paper. You can see how simple it is. And the fun bit over here again is how you cut the paper. And in this case, the light is going to come through from the little buds. Then I made one onto which I also added some dried flowers from God knows how long ago. Just taped them on the inside before I joined the whole thing. And then we've cut out little windows of the houses. And when this will be lit from the inside, the windows will be visible, as you can see over here. So it'll look like the houses have occupants. Now there's one more I wanted to try, which would involve pasting stuff on top. So we can take this sheet and we can do like either a negative positive thing, or part of this sheet itself can be used to cut up some stuff and paste it on the paper. And also part of the paper can be used to cut things up as well. So like we painted the flowers, or drew the flowers, rather they aren't even painted, we can draw things like butterflies. So just draw simple butterfly shapes like that. This is again something that I did see online. It is sadly not my original idea. I feel very bad when I cannot come up with an idea even after I have seen something like that on the net. Keep them separate. And in these butterflies, you can cut up their wings. but from the inside of the pattern. Maybe you can just cut up one of the things, not both. And don't cut it out, but fold it. So you can keep it cut like this. And on top of this, you can also make butterflies in some leftover paper, or if you want, you can make some butterflies on the top and paste those onto our paper. And things like butterflies, or even flowers for that matter, or birds, are such that you don't really have to paste the whole thing. You just paste the center. Now, it is entirely possible that you can make something like this even out of tracing paper if you have it. Tracing paper, butter paper, because then your design will become more visible. More visible against the light. And honestly, as far as those holes are concerned, please be on the lookout for anything interesting that you can make a hole out of. Hole or cut an edge out of. Because all these things look really cool on projects like these. So these you can paste by folding in half and then just paste them like this on top. So it'll start looking like a whole flurry of butterflies. Here we have it. Now here I've cut the butterfly from both sides, but I've left a gap in the middle. So this is how that butterfly can look. I can place this on top of the other. This will make a nice one as well. And I do want to try out making holes with a punching machine. Now here's a device that makes a single hole also. I don't know if you've seen this before. So there is a limitation to this also, how far it can go into the page. And of course whether it can cut properly or not. It's a really old one. Or you can just take a punching device and at least around the border you can punch holes. Just making sure that you don't punch into the butterfly. I think this is enough. I had seen an idea like this in Oroville where they had made lamps out of just brown paper bags. Not even holes, no designs on them, just small square brown paper bags in which they had put sand, because there's a whole lot of sand in Pondicherry, and had put this along a walkway, a lot of sand in it, and then they had just plunged candles in it. So the entire walkway was lit by only candles. That way they did not have to rely on electricity. And it looks so magical. Just those paper bags lit with flickering light. And I'm just imagining how it might have looked if we had any kind of electrical lighting system. I don't think it would have looked that exciting. Okay, so we have a nice butterfly lamp. So I just wanted to show you how having an organic edge cut like that over here doesn't lends more to the design than if the edge were cut straight. I have this cut straight here, so you see how it doesn't really look that nice, versus all these other shapes that we have cut. it makes the joinery invisible, even here between the houses. And that's what makes I know that we can easily place it facing the back, so it doesn't really matter, but that should not be the consideration. You should have, one should think about all the possibilities so that the design looks good in complete isolation also, even if it is going to be standing on its own. And yet also it must stand in solidarity with other patterns so that it does not hog the limelight. Okay, that's it.